brought their A game.
We had our brain food.
You know what I love about January 1st at midnight? Is the look on the guy at Walmart's face when it's 12:01 and you're like, I want a fishing license.
Let's go. Do you really shoot the halibut once you get him close to the surface?
We just shoot the halibut every Thursday.
Fellas, get back in that current.
I love it.
I hate
That's
you.
all right.
I hate me too, bud.
It's okay, Ryan.
Like a really fat branch.
Definitely.
Should we just fast forward to the part where I say, so you got skunked?
I have a question for you. So
You came to the right place, bud.
no, listen.
And welcome back. This is the Rut and River Pursuits podcast. This is Reality Outdoor Radio, where we bring you people, skills, and products you can trust.
You can trust them.
Mm-hmm. I am Uncle Catfish, and I'd like to hear that current one more time. There was some current this week.
Oh, yeah. You ain't kidding.
Southern current. I'd like to hear about that a little bit, but before we do, who's with me?
I'm Steve.
I'm Will.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bug.
We got Boog on the line.
We do.
That means something epic went down.
Mm-hmm.
Before we hear about it, though, I got to tell you guys a little something about this month's sponsor. This month's episodes are brought to you in part by Protection First Class Outdoors. PFC lubes were designed and developed to protect and lubricate your firearms, your bows, your tree stands, heck, all your outdoor equipment.
What about fishing rods?
Absolutely fishing rods, Stevie. You know it.
No way.
You know it. Guys, I'm telling you, this stuff was originally designed to use in automotive undercoatings. Now, it don't get more corrosive than that.
I heard that.
That's true.
Hey, Ryan,
Yeah, buddy.
does it leave a film or residue?
Absolutely not, Brian. No film, no residue. This stuff isn't going to harm the bluing on your firearms, any other kind of finish you got on any of your other outdoor products. This stuff is the ticket. And what? Now, wait.
I bet it freezes.
It does not freeze, Bucky.
What?
Oh,
But there's one more thing I got to tell you about. This stuff will also act as a cover scent.
You got
How
me.
many times you ever taken a well-protected and lubricated piece of equipment in the outdoors? It stinks, boys.
it
Yes,
stinks.
it does.
Not this stuff. They got the earth and the pine cover scent mixed right into the lubricant.
Wow.
They
Come
thought
on.
of
Can't beat it.
everything.
That's right, guys. Make sure you head on over to pfcoutdoors.com. Check out everything they got going on over there. Pick up some of that lube. It's the ticket. So now that we got this whole show lubricated, because I think there's going to be some friction tonight.
Why would there be friction?
Don't even worry
I
about
think
it.
we're going to unwrap some of that, but I have a feeling some epicness went down. We got Boog on the line. Catfish, what do you think happened?
I don't know. All I know is that Boog's on the phone, and the last time I spoke to Boog, well, I was in Florida, and that wasn't this past weekend.
Oh, really?
But maybe somebody frontiered down there.
I said I was frontiering down there.
Mm-hmm.
Boog, by the way, is Peacock Guide to the Stars. Based, you know,
That's for sure.
Please go back and listen to the previous Miami trip to listen all about who Boog is. But he's Will's cousin from Florida, has been on the phone with us before.
I just want to say that was one of the top, probably 2 or 3 trips I've ever taken anywhere in my entire life. Was that Miami fishing trip?
And here's the thing: not only when we went, so we won't get back into our trip too much.
go
but
ahead.
No.
Our trip was filled with tons and tons of firsts.
Yeah.
Firsts, lots of things. Mayans and jaguar paputas and peacock bass and you name it.
Guapote.
And my personal favorite, carnitas, which we'll get into.
Not carnitas.
Calabanas.
Not calabanas.
Croquettes.
Croqueta.
Croquetas.
Those things.
There you go.
Those things.
And what they are, if for the people that don't know, are like, what is it, like a ham pate?
Yeah.
That is like formed into a little link, and it's deep fried.
Just for clarification, do you have to say patty different in Florida? What's pate?
Pate is like a minced up meat.
I thought you were just trying to say patty
Not
fancy.
a ham patty.
Here's the thing.
Don't church it up, Will.
When you open up a
Pate.
can of like cat food, it literally looked like that, but
Okay.
appetizing and tasted like heaven.
Yeah,
So
it
no
was
taste-
like a fancy feast.
Yes, that thing.
I see what you did there.
In Cuba.
Anyhow, Boog actually had made this trip that Stevie's talking about past all the good fishing. One of the reasons that it was so amazing was he is, without a doubt, not because he's on the phone, but without a doubt, the best host I've ever had on any trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really took care of you and
without
was
a doubt.
thoughtful and very unselfish with his time and money and running around doing extracurricular, getting bait and Croatians or whatever they're called.
Croquetas.
Those things.
He'd show up at the door and with the coffee the way you like it and 2 Croatians.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Holding the bait bucket.
From the 89 Dream Team. Yeah.
No, it was our trip to Florida was amazing. I would like to know, because we planned it out meticulously and talked to each other, and the flights were coordinated, and Boog was ready, and everybody knew exactly what was going on.
Like when we were leaving,
Exactly.
who was coming,
Yes,
what time we were leaving,
Exactly.
the
Unlike
day we were leaving.
this trip.
Yes.
Yes, because last Thursday I jumped in on a podcast and Will was talking to myself and Ryan and Steve and
He let the pate out of the bag, as it were.
I said, he's like, "What are you doing this weekend?"
This
and I
is
said,
not even remotely fair.
I
but
looked
get
over
it.
and said, "Well, what are you
Let's
doing?"
ride this roller coaster.
It's unlike me to pile on.
I don't make eye contact very long.
Yeah.
And I looked over at Will last week at the podcast table and said, "Why? What are you doing this weekend?" He said, "I'm going fishing with Boog in Florida," and I couldn't stop staring. I had nothing to say.
That's it.
It was on the thread, bud.
You were rendered speechless.
I had to go back. I had to have sleepless nights to go back digging through 6,000 emails.
Did you look?
And we
I did.
literally, there's days where there's at least 100 messages on that
It
on
could
our
be,
thread.
in Will's defense, I could have missed it. I didn't see it, but I'm not saying I would have quit my job to go on this trip.
It
but
was
I would have
on-
quit my job.
Yeah. It was on Span the R2, and it was on our thread.
But it's cool, whatever. It's cool.
Whatever you're into.
got it.
Black Ops into Florida, peacock bass
Yeah,
fishing, I'm into it.
That's cool.
Don't worry, Catfish. A lot of people can relate to not being invited on trips sometimes.
Yeah. Nope, I hear you.
What are you talking about? You want to air a grievance?
No, I know the feeling.
That was the first time I ever got bit on the ear by a lizard.
Oh, a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever stuck a lizard on someone's ear.
It's crazy. This is cool.
It was an amazing time. I want to hear. So our brother Will,
Yeah,
since we're in the currently just got back from Florida,
I did.
and it's been freezing rain and ice and crappy
Yeah,
here.
terrible.
Yeah.
Windy, awful.
This episode is not a current. It's an outgoing tide.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, I see what you did there.
yeah. This is
I
outgoing.
like it.
This
I
is,
like it.
this is O tide.
I wish we had more ways to rub it in.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Stevie, here's the thing, though. I mean, you went with them last time.
I did.
And, you caught peacock bass before. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he did something different.
No,
right?
Stevie showed up. Wait. No, I was standing in a yard with Boog in my boxer shorts with his family, never meeting them before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how comfortable the atmosphere was.
Oh, yeah.
Stevie got off a plane, out of a taxi cab, walked straight past me, stole my rod out of my hand, never said hi to me, and caught a peacock bass within 4 seconds of being there.
It was.
Then he said hi.
zero
And then he
time.
said,
like,
"Oh, hey, Catfish."
Hey, how you doing, bud?
He was on a mission.
Yeah, he jumped out of it. Would you Uber or you cab?
We Ubered.
Yeah, it's the first Uber.
Yeah.
Just imagine that Uber driver getting an earful. Can't go any faster.
Yeah,
Oh, that was the longest half-hour ride of my
that
life.
poor Uber driver. He's like, so what are peacocks biting on?
Yeah.
Guys, he took the long way around the block just to make a bet.
I guess where I was going with that, Stevie, is, it's not like they
it wasn't.
Did any different kind of fishing or anything at the time too, right?
Well, no, that was. As if going peacock fishing wasn't bad enough. What they did before that is really what
we spoke.
I just couldn't. I just can't.
We spoke of this on our trip to possibly go there.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
No, it was just, we were literally just couldn't leave the Peas.
No, you couldn't.
I couldn't leave.
It was Steve. We couldn't drag Stevie away from the Peas.
There's no way.
No, we couldn't.
leaving.
We talked about maybe doing it, but here's the thing.
So what'd you do?
When we first started this podcast, we had this. When we were actually building the podcast, we went and we had an episode that never really aired. And we said, we kind of went around the table and we said, hey, what is your bucket list?
Right.
And, and Ryan, you weren't here for this.
I don't think so.
Yeah. No, this is when we were building the podcast. But if you had a bucket list fish, what would it be?
I'm going to say roosterfish.
Roosterfish?
Yeah.
That's on Boog's list big time.
Yeah.
Catfish?
I know they're protected, but I think it'd be really cool to catch one of them sawfish.
Bald eagles?
The sawfish with the saw noses on them.
Oh, yeah.
Bald eagle fish.
Yeah, or, of course, one of the big peas in the Amazon, but sawfish is a cool fish.
That's also on Boog's list.
Amazon pea.
Yeah. Stevie.
Yeah.
What's your bucket list?
A big redfish. Not a puppy drum like you catch at Ocean City or like that I've caught it, but a big 30, 35 plus redfish. A bull red.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I know I'm flying into Orlando.
The only time I've ever paid anyone to take me fishing in my life was to have the opportunity to catch a big redfish.
Did you?
No. I got a big speckled trout, but I did not pay.
That's good.
The only time I've ever paid,
list, but it's good.
No, it was a good fish. It was a good trip. But
what was your bucket list fish at the time?
So, at the time,
brown trout or something
probably
like that.
Like a
bluegill,
a pumpkin seed.
Pumpkin seed.
Well, would you say like a big bull red, like Stevie's talking about? Is that still on your bucket list?
That thing after.
Yeah, let's go there.
I want to get. I kind of do want to go there because I told Boog this. I said, listen, after that episode of like having like it's been 4 years now, and Stevie hasn't gotten that 30-inch plus dreamfish.
And it's not out of it. The thing is, it's not. I only have a couple times a year when I have the opportunity to even get close to that. So it's not out of the question. It's not like
I know it's not
rooster fish, like where I'm not going to catch that off a pier in North or South Carolina, but.
Not with that kind of attitude.
The likelihood of that, I'm sure it's happened, but it's not like it's not likely to happen,
Yeah. Well, let me just say, Boog said we're going to this pier. There's red drum, black drum, snook,
monster
tarpon.
Snook.
Yeah, like
Godzilla snook,
tarpon. There's jacks and sheep's head,
cobia,
and I'm sure a handful of smaller, cooler fish.
Yeah,
that are under the pier.
Yep, exactly. And I manifested, like I physically, like the thought, the energy, the bait selection, everything about my being was I was going to that place to catch a big red drum.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
And in the last...
Like a timpani. Yeah. Like a
And you've got some pier fishing experience now since we've
spoken. Drum.
So since we actually had that podcast talking about those types of fish, you had some pier fishing experience, which helped.
A couple of times, yeah. I mean, I've stolen a rod from Stevie or you.
So when you end up in Orlando, meet up with Boog, and you have your mind set to go into that pier that we spoke about all those years ago, like what was the pier like? You got to paint a picture for me.
This was not the Monster Snook Pier.
Oh, it was not the one we talked about.
Not the one we talked about, but this is like another hidden, not hidden, it's pretty famous too. nothing's hidden there, I don't think. Boog, is there anything hidden?
Oh, not anymore, man, unfortunately. On the West Coast, there's a lot more hidden spots, but on the East Coast, it's pretty far and few between.
So you're talking about Juneau, that Jupiter.
That's where we were going to get a Jupiter, I think. Right?
Yeah,
That's in Jupiter. Yeah.
Okay. So we were north of there, which is an hour away from where Boog lives.
Okay.
In Orlando, and Boog travels quite a bit, so I mean it's not a thing. You know, we end up going to Sebastian, which is like an hour away from Boog's house, and you know, it's so
He
funny.
Sounded frustrated just as he said, "Mm-hmm."
And I mean, we were pretty excited, and even the one day, like we were so excited, we beat the shrimp truck. You know, like we just straight up were there too early.
There's a shrimp truck.
Is that like a way you can reference time in Florida? We got there so early, we beat the shrimp truck.
I've never heard that one.
There's a sundial.
Yeah.
There's a shrimp truck. There's an Apple Watch. Yeah.
Like around here, they talk about, till the cows come home as a reference in time.
Yeah.
This is
Coon's
beat
age.
the shrimp truck.
I love it. No, you're right. Love it.
Yeah. So we beat.
Bait shop opens at 5. So basically, we got there around like 5:30, and shrimp truck didn't get there yet.
Wow. So we were like, do you have any shrimp? And he's like, no.
You beat the shrimp truck.
Yeah. So
what do you do for a half hour with no shrimp?
Nothing. We were just like,
oh, you gotta just sit there and wait.
Give us your best sand fleas.
That would kill
cousin,
you.
You're missing a whole bunch too, man, in front of it.
All right, so let me back it up. So when you talk, I learned, you want to be a Jetty all-star, right? You want to get down there. You want to be a superstar. You want to, have your corner of the Jetty, of the pier.
You're not going to get there being a half hour late or an hour late.
Listen, I'm telling you what you need to do
is beat the shrimp truck.
You have your own shrimp truck.
On your way down, you call the bait shop.
Yeah.
And you don't even
get them ready.
You don't even say hi.
Yeah.
You say
shrimpin'.
Shrimper. And then they're like, yeah or no.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah.
Click.
And you're like, are they good? He's like, no. All right, see you in a bit. Click.
Dude, so you don't fix for your own bait then. So this is buy the bait and
well, it depends.
Going.
Wintertime's a little bit harder down here to get bait compared to the spring and the summertime when it's in majority everywhere. Sometimes if we have time, we'll go out there and catch the pinfish ourselves, but it requires a lot of time. It takes at least an hour or two to fill up the live well with enough baits, especially with 2 people.
You doing like a cast net on that? Or how you catching the bait?
You can. Okay, so the way we're catching the pinfish is we'll get a pack of frozen shrimp, or anything really. Chunks of bait if you have it frozen, but chunks of shrimp is really easy to get, so that's what we use. On like 15-pound mono, 10-pound mono, a long shank gold hook. The long shank is really good for when you're catching bait, especially for you guys, like for shiners and stuff like that, or bluegill, so they don't swallow the hook. It's real easy to get it out and keeps your baits nice and lively. Even use a de-hooker works really good with the long shank. So that's what we do for that. Just a little split shot. Usually they hang around bridges, they like the sand, grass flats, so go to bridges, cast out on the points, cast out from the rocks, and you can usually get some pinfish that way.
Are they fairly easy to keep alive in an aerated cooler?
You definitely want obviously a bigger than 5 gallons. Put it that way. Yeah, you can't go with a 5-gallon bucket and keep you can probably keep a dozen pinfish in a 5-gallon bucket, but that'll go by pretty quick.
What did that kid have? That big round deal?
Yeah, that was probably like 30-gallon, like a 30,
hauling
35
that
gallon
around?
drum.
He's got a cart, and he was like
Pure
a
cart.
little entrepreneur.
He was an all-star Jetty.
He's a little Jetty all-star in the making.
Exactly.
30 gallons of water. What's that? 240, 250 pounds?
Roughly.
Liters.
No.
Liter.
No. Maybe. I don't know.
Is it legal to use a hoop net in Florida for catch bait?
Check your regs.
Yeah.
Check those
I'm
regs.
not too sure. The cast net is usually just what everyone throws down here.
All right.
So anyway, yeah.
So there's no shrimp, and you want shrimp, live shrimp.
Yeah, and so the thing is that the certain places down here, man, the bait is key. It's the same way with a lot of places, you know. So where we were fishing, if you don't have the right size shrimp, you know, you can, the guy next to you could be hooking up all day, and you're just staring at him.
So
I heard
did you
that.
say the right size shrimp?
Oh yeah, you need the biggest shrimp you can get, man.
Just like college, Ryan?
Exactly. What?
Yep.
The biggest shrimp.
So what time did the shrimp get
It's an
there?
oxymoron.
Yeah.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah, let's get into this. I'm dying here.
Well, what about
So you spent
What
that-
about the book story? He was telling us about
Yeah.
a funny story.
He did.
That was the funny story. Just how the bait shop guy
Where
runs
were-
around the bush all the time.
Where were you?
Gotcha. I didn't think it was.
They
that
never
funny.
want. They never want to satisfy. They never want to give you no. They want to satisfy.
They want to sell.
That's funny. It was so then when you get to the bait shop after you have that cool conversation
At
of
least
like
they
7
don't
words.
say yeah, and then you get there and that dude just walked out with the last of it. But I got
They just say no
blood
right away,
worms.
and then
That's cool of them.
Boog says, "Give me the best of those crappy shrimp. Take your time." And then the guy spends a little bit of time in there.
You tip him.
The more time he spends in there, the better shrimp you're going to get. So he must like you. Or
You
whatever.
don't want to rush that dude.
You don't want to rush him.
So do you tip
Take
him?
your time. No, I don't tip
You
them.
don't
But that's a
tip
great
'em?
idea.
Yeah. I don't go crazy with it, but
Well, Boog looks at it and he's like,
What do you tip a shrimp puller?
shrimp pullers.
How much are these shrimp?
Oh, it depends. Probably like $4 to $5 a dozen.
that ain't bad.
I was expecting more than that, but that's not bad.
Minnows are more.
Yeah, our shiners are more. Shiners are about $10 a dozen.
What?
They were, because I remember walking into the bait store with Boog. Remember, it had a sign that said "No Missouri minnows."
Yeah.
That's all I remember too.
So you got these big shrimp.
Same thing for the shiners too.
Yeah.
Like we walked in there, we're down in Miami. Boog's like, "You got largies or whatever he says."
You got to learn the lingo.
Yeah.
And the dude's like, "No."
It sounds like minimalistic talking is the way to go.
Oh, it's amazing. The dude's like, "No." Boog's like, "Give me the largest ones then.
I want 2 dozen of the
tip you.
besties.
And take your time.
Take your time." And then he comes out with like semi-large minnows, and I don't know what he.
It sounds to me like we have to open up a hospitable, happy, talkative bait shop in Florida.
I don't think you'll get anywhere with it. You'll just waste time.
People will just hate your bait shop because you're too nice.
Because you're too nice.
And you have too big.
Boog doesn't have time.
Chatty Cathy Bates.
Yeah.
Not if you want to be a
Kathy
Jetty
Bates, see what I
all-star.
did there?
Welcome, Kathy.
Come get your bait here. You'll never get the corner of the pier.
Yeah. If
Talk to you all morning.
especially if Pick runs the counter.
So did you get your bait? You got these shrimp? We're like 45 minutes into this podcast and we still haven't got the bait.
You killed Steve. He wants to hear about like the McGregor walk out onto the pier.
Yeah.
That's how it was too. Like
So we had to go to the strike zone. All right, Stevie, we had to stop over the strike zone in Melbourne. All right, great outfitter out there. They hooked us up with a brand new combo.
have you seen any of that?
Huh?
Strike zone is like where do you go on the other side of the bridge?
Anglers.
Yeah, it's like Anglers, only like fancy.
Oh yeah.
Anglers is pretty decent. too.
Anglers is actually pretty fancy for a sports shop.
Yeah, well, this is like Miami
Fancy.
or Orlando rather fancy.
Really?
Melbourne. Let's just say that.
Top shelf.
And it's like
What combo? Did you buy a rod?
I didn't high
Oh,
end.
yeah.
The Boog did.
I bought Boog bought it for me. every time I
He's
go
a
down.
peach.
Are the rods the same way? Do you go up to the counter and look at the dude and be like, I know you got the good stuff in the
Yeah,
back?
he did. Everything's like that. He was like, man, you got the Mojo Surf 7 foot, and the dude's like, no. He's like, you have the 6'8"? Yeah. And it's just like kind of just this back and forth, like no words, except for they knew what they were. He knew what he wanted, and the dude knew what he had, and he's like, and Boog's like, you gonna give me 20% off my line if I buy this combo now? And the dude's like, yeah, I can do that.
Put the Penn Battle 2 on it?
No, he doesn't. He likes a good Shimano.
Who does?
I like a good Shimano.
He
Hang
got
up
the
on him.
Saragusa or whatever. The Tony Saragusa.
I'm just kidding, Boog. They're good reels.
The Scaramucci.
What did you?
Saragossa.
Saragossa.
That's close.
Scotamoosh.
What did you say? Hoochie coochie.
Yeah, we did.
Do the Fandango.
Thunderbolt of lightning. Very, very frightening.
I'm dying here, guys.
Stevie's literally sweating. Because he knows at some point during this story there may be a bull red
A hook set.
somewhere.
Yeah.
We got the rod.
He got the rod. He's all lined up. I buy a set of those like deck boots or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me about some sunscreen you put on your nose.
I don't buy sunscreen.
Those monkey gloves.
It's gonna
monkey fish
A yellow
No.
brimmed hat. All right, we got the
My
rod.
nose is gonna.
We got
fry.
the deck boots.
Yeah.
We got the shrimp.
I
Got a
almost.
couple pinfish in my back pocket.
I tried so hard to buy a set of those. What are they?
They have some Grundens.
Grundens. But
Oh, you should have.
They didn't have my size.
No, they're good though. I like this.
You should have rolled in with the ice pick things around your neck. Like you were.
With a striker suit.
Yeah, with a striker suit.
Well, I would have looked like every other Florida person because it was 70. It was 68, and people had gloves on and neck gaiters. And,
Oh man,
Will's out there in a Speedo sweating to death.
I'm dying.
This is not miser weather.
short pants and
It was crazy.
Short sleeve
So,
t-shirts.
yeah, we had some crazy weather in the last couple of days.
we can get to that. So we got a rod. We got a.
The shrimp are dying here.
We got the rod.
Yeah. All right.
First night we were jigging out there, and it wasn't really the best conditions. We had wind coming out our face, and
Yeah.
Will wasn't really familiar with the environment we were fishing, and it's a pretty it's a tough place to fish.
There's people. Yeah, it's shoulder to shoulder. It can be, and I know there's times when it's not like that, but it was a holiday weekend and blah blah blah.
Yeah, so we were dealing with some kind of unfortunate situation. So we decided we're going to come back early in the morning and give it another shot and fish the outgoing. We were fishing the outgoing tide at night.
Yep.
So we were deciding to go home, skip incoming, take a couple hours of sleep, and then go back for the outgoing.
So help me visualize. So you're fishing the outgoing tide, and you were in the pier. It goes into the river. So if you're
The river, the pier goes in the ocean.
the pier goes into the ocean, and you're casting
into the river.
So
into the river.
Are you guys by a computer by any chance, or like any way you could Google Map something?
Yeah, sure.
Google Maps Sebastian Inlet. There's a beach, there's the ocean side, and there's the river side. Okay, so you think of Florida, there's an intercoastal, and then there's inlets going out to the ocean, all the way up and down the East Coast. So where we are in Florida, our intercoastal is called the Indian River.
So on the incoming tide, it creates.
You'll have ocean water coming into the river.
Yeah, it creates a funnel for the bait fish and all the bigger fish to come past the pier to go into the river.
Correct.
Okay, I got you. I can picture it in my head, right? And Stevie's looking it up.
So
And then when you look at the picture, you'll understand even more.
Okay.
were you fishing on the south side of the pier? Yeah,
You're fishing the North Jetty.
The big one.
But which side of the pier were you fishing?
We'll get into that later. We were fishing the North Jetty.
But we got to get back to the
I'm
strike zone.
I see.
Talk about the line that he bought. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Get some of that Finn's 40G.
I tried to find some fins. I didn't see it.
I see. I'm looking at the
Those
pier
guys better
here
be
right
at the
now.
outdoor show.
Yeah.
I need to purchase quite a number of reels.
Oh,
or
my
spools,
goodness.
rather.
Yeah.
Well, I have lots and lots of spools at the house.
A 40G?
I may have bought some stuff.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
I'm coming to visit. Bring Logan over so he can do it for me.
Yeah, no, right.
Yep.
I need some fins.
Yep. So we get there, we set up. There's a couple different ways to fish it.
So we first started fishing out the morning, looking for pompano and black drum, and trying to fill up the cooler. So we're fishing the beach side with a normal pompano rig. Fishing with sand fleas, and because fishing with sand fleas and shrimp. Unfortunately, all we were getting was catfish that morning. It happens sometimes. So
you're just bottom fishing, just bait and weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Just
Yeah, this
soaking the fish.
So Stevie, help me out here, because this is the rig I'm throwing from the surf, like when I go down to Virginia and stuff.
4 ounce, 3 ounce.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
the pompano rig's what I picked up, and
Pyramid weight.
Pyramid weight.
I was knocking.
I personally like tying my own rigs over buying them, and it's a super easy rig to learn, and I suggest highly everyone learns it because it's a rig that you can do for pier fishing, a rig you can do for the beach, a rig you can do for on a party boat or a drift boat if you're offshore, if you're deep dropping. It's a great rig for everything. And all it is it's this dropper loop. Some people call it. I call it just an overhand loop knot. I'm sure all you guys are very familiar with it. You just might not have applied it in this way. But hopefully Will can show you here. Hopefully he remembers. But
we got class starting later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. The rig class starting later. But it's a great way to adjust your weight depending on what the current is, and there's a whole bunch of different benefits to it. But
I'm serving
pompano rig is a great rig to know.
So I see what you're saying though. If you're tying it yourself, you can adjust.
You can adjust the weight. You can adjust the color of the floats that you're working with. You can adjust the beads. I love using a bead. I've learned that. I've learned that trick just honestly by observing more than anything. Usually the people hooking up, they have a bead on.
Yeah.
And
I could see the benefit in making all of those adjustments. For me, I mean, I get to fish it for a week out of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm just buying a bunch of rigs at the shop when I go buy bait. So, but I could see the benefit though from tying it, and Will's going to show me how to do that knot. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll show you right away.
Oh, yeah,
This pier extends way out into the ocean. Like that's way past the breakers.
Yeah, and that was part of the action that we had was we got windy and
just too windy.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
So lots of catfish that first day.
Yeah, so we were getting lots of catfish
from
off the
getting
bat.
skunked, and I was really thankful for that catfish.
Yeah, and so this was Will's first real morning out there, so he was really able to observe what he was like, not being able to see the night before, being able to see the rock piles, being able to see where the breaks are, where the current rips are, and all that's, really important when fishing this area. So I knew a cold front was coming through. We were in the middle of it. I knew the redfish had to be there. We just saw a redfish get pulled up earlier on the beach side, kind of on accident, but whatever. Nonetheless, the redfish got caught. So we're fishing this pyramid kind of fish finder rig that a lot of pier guys use down here. Will should be able to show you guys that too as well. It's super simple, super effective. So we're tying this up with these large shrimp. We're casting all the way out into the middle of the channel, basically.
So you flip sides on the pier now, right?
Yeah. Yes, we're fishing the inlet side now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're standing at the very end at the tip. We're casting all the way out into the middle of the channel, letting it sweep out to the very edge of the channel.
Yeah. It's O-time.
Depending on the weight. And we're letting it sit there. So now
you're Jetty All-Star.
A lot of different things, components come into it. And I mean, I'll get into it if you guys want me to, but what I was telling Will is, you got to think like a fish in the sense where if you're fishing off a current rip or off a channel rip, anything, any type of rip, off a point for bass, anything, you want to put your bait in the first possible place of presentation. You don't want to cast behind and bring it up. You want your bait to drift and go right in front of its face. You want it to be as natural as possible. So by us casting in the channel and letting it drift, that weight is settling at the first possible place outside of that rip and outside of that current, right where those fish are going to be hanging out. So we were doing this for about an hour, not really having too much luck, getting hits here and there. Will finally hooks up to a huge fish. And I mean, this thing's fighting. I mean, this thing's working him.
Stupid.
And, you know,
fish.
it's obvious, you know, I can't underestimate enough how hard these fish fight. And, you know, it's pretty obvious too to Will, and, you know, based off the way he's fighting his face, and you're honestly always touching your drag. Bass fishing, you really never have to use your drag as a tool. But when you're fighting these fish in current situations and rocks and other people, your drag is one of the most important tools, probably besides your rod itself. So Will's fighting this fish, bringing him into the inlet. And then this thing's running, bringing him back in, running out again. And in the meantime, there's a boat that comes over, and he's locked on off the point, and he's catching snook left and right using croakers in the same hole that we're catching these reds.
Locked on meaning spot locked with.
He's on a motor. He's using a motor guide, and he's on lock. He has a spot lock trolling motor
Anchored up on the trolling motor, right?
Yeah. So he has no anchor line, but he has this motor actively in the water.
Right.
So this fish, man, I'm talking about, takes one last run, and just like that, we lose about 100 yards. And I'm assuming he broke off on the trolling motor. That's what we're assuming. So
we lost so much line. I mean, how likely is to lose 30-pound braid in the middle of the.
Yeah, and
It's not. It got caught up and wrapped up in that guy's trolling motor.
That's what I'm guessing.
I hope it got way caught up in there.
Yeah, the other end probably has a big redfish on it, and his trolling motor reeled it in for him, and
chopped it up into sushi.
Reached down there and grabbed it. Hey,
I don't want it to hurt the fish.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's just one of many. So,
but that thing was probably the heavyweight champion, because it took 4 runs on us.
It was the biggest fish of the day for sure.
Was it as strong as the kings that you caught in Alaska?
Stronger.
Was it?
Yeah, I know. Wow. I don't think I've had it. I mean, maybe the combination of the current, the O-tide, and the power of the fish.
I like the way you're talking.
You know what I mean?
The O-tide.
Oh, he's a changed man. He needs to come down here.
I need to move.
Will they make a run towards you?
Yeah.
Yes, 100% they will.
Freak me out.
Yeah. So you
let me
slack.
Bug's like, real. No, he's like, you know, ease up. And I'm like, I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so like he's trying to, like, there's times where like you can offer your buddy as much help as you can, but you're not feeling it. And like, 100%. So the one time he was like, he's up on him. I'm like, I don't feel a thing. So like I start cranking, and he's, you know, it was just.
Sometimes it's a race.
It is a race to catch back up. We had the night before, like you said, there was a guy there hooking up like crazy.
Yeah. But
he was getting these runs that like were just straight away. Like they just go. And Bug's like, that's shark, you know. Like there was no fighting it. There was not, like, the dude could do nothing.
Couldn't slow it down.
Break it off.
Yeah.
So, are there other people drifting like this? Like, is there a lot of people? Are you trying to coordinate with?
No,
yes. So what a lot of people need to realize too when they go out to piers and stuff like this is, you know, you should never be afraid to ask someone, you know, where they're casted at. You know, what kind of fishing are they doing? Are they fishing a live bait? Are they on the bottom? Are they drifting? Or, you know, especially when the pier is packed, and it only helps other people. And another thing you have to realize is too, not everyone's an expert out there. A lot of people aren't. Out of a group of 15 people, probably only 3 people out there fish it pretty regularly. So, you know, by you going out there and you helping one another, it's only going to benefit each other, you know?
Makes sense.
So the reason why we bought that rod, number one, was because I knew, you know, on a pier, a longer rod is your advantage all day, even on a beach. You know, the longer rod you can get, the better. So we went and bought a 10-foot rod. I was fishing an 11-foot rod. And, you know, Will might have been a little intimidated in the beginning because it's, you know, definitely the biggest rod he's ever thrown, but
I guarantee it.
Such a big difference, man, when you get out there and you can just cast easily 150, 200 feet past the closest person.
I'll be 100% honest. Like, I'm pulling back the veil here. I never two-handed cast.
Really?
Oh, really?
I never two-hand cast.
Even bass fishing?
Even bass fishing. I don't even know how you guys do that. It looks so awkward and feels awkward to me. But I see you guys do it all the time. And but I understand it now, much more whenever you have a, 10-foot megaloid, rod whipping chunks.
Yeah.
The secret is we were easily pitching maybe 15 to 20 yards, 30 yards past everyone else.
Yeah.
Key. Sounds like the key.
I think
It is the key.
Yeah. And we were out towards that boat that I got.
That's exactly, real quick, what happened to
Bingo.
me and Stevie.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
The reason me and Stevie on that pier caught them 40-pound stripers back to back to back to back is we were 30, 40 yards past everybody else.
Yeah, we were using a 10 and a 12-foot rod that day, too.
How big of a pier net did you use?
It was in Stevie's
We don't need to
house.
go into that. But
Anyway.
They were strong fish. So if the bull reds are stronger than that,
Holy
man,
They are.
I had to have Stevie take over once. I gave Stevie the rod and said, "Listen, I don't know what this fish is doing, but
Figure it out.
I haven't fought a fish like this in a while. I need a chicken nugget. So can you hold on to this for a little bit?"
So you lost this one. This is gone.
Well, he lost that one in the trolling motor.
You lost one in the trolling motor.
I lost
So
one.
he lost the one in the trolling motor. So, I tell, trying to keep Will, Will, come on, man. It was a heartbreaking moment. We got it. We rig up again. Man, we get another bait on. We get back out there.
Boog the whole time. It doesn't matter what we were doing. Take this rod. I'll rig up the next thing.
Well, that's the way he is.
Yeah. Selfless.
You got to be that way, man. We got to catch fish. So we get my cousin back out in the water, man. He's fishing the next bait. Hooks. I'm rigging up the rod, and I can see a shadow out of the corner of my eye, and he's hooked up again. So I drop the rod. I turn around.
Just right away.
Yes.
Oh yeah, right away. I'm like, you got a fish? She's like, oh yeah. And
You got the spot.
Drags going crazy.
I got zizzed.
Nice.
Oh yeah, drags running crazy. We get him in the pier. We get him in close. Man, he takes one hard run. Boom. Pops. So we reel it in. It was a big snook, man. We had a ton of fray on the leader. We were only using 30-pound fluoro, small hooks. So that snook definitely choked it probably a little bit too much. And their mouths are like razors. So, it definitely cut that line.
It's like me up in Alaska popping pinks the way it sounds like.
Popping pinks like it was prom night.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the worst feeling, man. It's the worst feeling. So we rig him up again. We send him out there. Man, he hooks up again. So he's fighting it.
And
this time we bring him in.
This time, so I don't even know. After the first one ran, I was like, yeah, I'm from PA. Like, I'm not from here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, So then, all these people started being like, come on, boy, you can do this. It's your first, you got this. It's your first fish, man. It's going to be
They're
awesome.
cheering you on. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it all night. And I'm like, it's only 10 o'clock.
By the third fish, Will's got his hands out and step back, brother.
I am like,
I got this.
The third fish, I am starting to get rocked. It's physical, more physical than, when Boog's laughing at me.
We just lost two giants.
Yeah, he's like, it's not. He's like, come on, boy, you gotta go. It's not a bass. It's not a smallie, son.
So he gets this third one in, man, and this head comes up and it's a big redfish, man.
There it is.
Boo.
How far from the water to the pier do you have to bring it up? Give me a visual.
Dang, man. I'd say probably 20 feet, 25.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
We have a drop net, I grab someone's drop net.
When you're there and everyone's there, you just grab one of somebody else's.
They don't care.
Yep. No, I just, my heart sank. Like I said, I manifested this thing. I thought, all my energy, when I knew I was going to catch that dream fish of Stevie's before Stevie did.
it's wild too. 'Cause
That's what you meant by I thought you were saying you feasted like the breakfast.
It
with
was
the
a manna
croquetas and
feast.
stuff.
It was a
yeah. Now I get what you're saying.
Yes.
I almost think that I know when this moment happened. I was in the parking lot at work looking up, and I saw clouds that looked like the face of crying Stevie.
Yeah. You can.
I'm like, somewhere Will just caught a massive bull red.
Yeah.
Stevie's crying.
You can see the tracks of his tears. Like it is literally just dripping.
Oh my! No, that was
Boog. What did I say about Stevie?
You said a lot of things about Stevie.
I'll bet.
I know, but like, what makes Stevie jealous? Do you remember me telling you about Catfish and
about how he just wants to be out of work, man.
Catfish will be the jealousy part comes from the fact that you're on a pier fishing and he's at work. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Stevie's jealous you're catching fish and he's not.
Stevie is jealous that you're catching reds, you're catching anything that he has, that's where his sheer jealousy comes from. Like he's a speciesist or something.
It was different this time though. I was actually just happy that you were out fishing. Like I was, and I texted you that.
But that's what I told Boog. I said that's how he's so happy that I'm out. Yeah.
However, it would have been nice to be there with you, because watching Stevie lose 2 monster fish, and then seeing some dude grab a pier net and pull up a bull red. Yeah. Everybody, not on that pier, but everybody in Wamaco County or wherever you were would have known Stevie had a bull red. Yeah, because Stevie gets that excited.
Yeah. It's hard to contain it.
What did you yell anything like Rocky when you got this thing on the pier?
It was like the absolute very end of the Water Boy. Whenever everyone's like, yeah, you can do, and I did it, and it's like, and I'm like, I love my mama. It was like so cool.
So
he loves his mama.
What did fish end up measuring?
It was the 34. 34.
That's a nice fish.
All day long.
Nice fish.
What's the slot limit, or is there a slot limit down there, Boog?
Yeah, 18 to 27.
So there was no way you were taking that home. Is the season in
tomorrow or something?
No,
like that.
So you just missed it.
No, it's in right now. Snook opens up on the 1st.
That's right.
Is there a slot limit for those?
Yeah, it's 28 to 32. That's only 4-inch slot.
Wow. This one guy's like, basically throw that in my cooler, and Boog's like,
he was really wanting it. He's like, oh, that one looks good. Like,
really? Yeah. And Boog's like, no way, man.
That looks good.
You're smoking something. He's like, that's too big.
Now, snook bull reds, are they good to eat? I never had any of that.
They're amazing.
Are they?
Oh man, they're the best.
Because snook just looks like a giant saltwater walleye to me. Is what it looks like.
Oh, it's the firmest meat, man. You can grill it, fry it, ceviche, bake it. It's amazing. It's a great white meat.
Are there cheeks on a snook?
Are there what?
Cheeks.
Cheek meat.
Cheek meat on a snook.
Oh yeah, there's cheeks. Yeah, there's cheeks.
Is there?
Yep. Not cheeks on a redfish though. But you get big shoulders on a redfish.
Yeah.
So I would like to make an R2 trip to Florida again. Here's the thing. Stevie's right. It was absolutely one of the best trips ever.
Yeah. And yes, it still was.
It was again.
Again.
And you should have seen all the turkeys we saw too, man.
No, Will texted me something about we're just driving to the pier to go fishing and there's turkeys everywhere. I'm like, rub it in salt my eyeballs.
I went I was spent after that last one, and so I went to get a drink and rehydrate.
Get some more of those electrolytes in you.
There's a dude with shrimp. Is there like a hot dog guy, like a hot dog cart on the pier?
No, I didn't see one.
You have to walk somewhere to get a drink.
Boog hooks up right after I do with a bigger red. And
is that right?
Yeah, it just
nice.
We were in the honey hole, man, and it's so crazy because the same hole we were getting all these reds in, there was 2 boats catching snook left and right. I'm talking about left and right, left and right.
They just weren't eating
time.
shrimp.
Different bait or what?
I mean, well, Will did lose that one snook on a shrimp. And then the next day, actually, a guy caught the biggest snook I've seen in a while caught there on a shrimp as well. But no, these guys were using pinfish and croakers.
Yeah.
Which are a great wintertime bait here.
Sometimes it's all it takes, man. Yeah. I'll drive right past McDonald's to go to KFC any day. And I don't do fast food very often, but I mean, just sometimes you're like waffles or I'm sure snooker the same way. I don't want your shrimp. I got pinfish over
The funny part is we weren't throwing too far off that boat. In
same area,
and those fish are stacked up together.
Yeah,
just whatever they're doing, they're all. We were seeing 2 different.
Oh yeah, they feed together.
And then the very next day, we saw some black drum come up, which they look like bulls in china shops, but they're just big ugly monsters.
Yeah, their nicknames are Big Uglies.
Big Uglies.
Big Uglies.
Yeah. So and we had there was no slot for that day. It was the holiday, and you could not get full. Yeah, you couldn't get in a spot and hang out for any length of time. The wind was so bad that if I didn't get a good toss, it just blows it right back into the rocks.
Sounds like Tangle City to me.
It was terrible. Yeah. And then unfortunately they look at you like you're the problem, but everyone's in the same situation.
Yeah, that's not fun.
So
like opening day at trout season.
Oh, it's way, it was worse than
I'd
that.
have packed it up.
Yeah. I mean, so we kind of did. And, we went and we got to meet Captain Thomas and made a game plan. And the whole time I was like, Bud.
It's in the back of your mind.
Bud.
I got to go.
Can we, go down for some peas in the Miamis?
In your backyard.
In your backyards.
Yeah.
And he did really good at fending me off. Like he was. Yeah.
We had to catch a red. We had to catch something big.
Yeah. And we were after a snook. We had our sights, but just the weather honestly got way worse after that morning. And next morning, after the holiday, we packed it up and we headed south and just hammered some peas.
Did you go to Stevie's favorite spot?
We went to Stevie's.
Oh, my.
You're not going to say where it is, but Stevie's favorite spot, you know where it's.
I've been dreaming about that spot for
haunts my dreams.
2 years.
Speaking.
We did 3 years, however long.
We did everything that we did, almost everything we did last time with just Boog and I.
Yeah.
And I started to tell you guys, and I wanted to rub it in.
Save it fresh.
Yeah.
So they hear it live.
I wanted to just, like a tanning oil or something.
Did you get another 6-pounder?
I didn't get a 6-pounder. I'll give you that. I will concede that much.
Stevie's happy for the first time in 20 minutes because you said you didn't get a 6-pounder.
But you don't know how many times, and it was probably every time we got together for several months after we were down there that we had to bring up who caught the biggest peacock. And
what happened?
We don't need to get into that. I don't want to rehash the first trip. So you can.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry to derail the conversation.
I thought we were talking about that whenever I caught that big 6-pounder.
Was that you?
I thought we were going.
That's not how Stevie recalls it.
Yeah.
How would you not recall it like that? That actually happened. We have pictures.
We were standing right beside each other. Like we were almost shoulder to shoulder.
Like a pier.
And I think
that's what happens. That boat, and they were casting one way, they were casting the other way off the pier, and them dudes were smashing.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what I was doing.
We were feet apart, literally feet apart. Anyways, You were proceeding to
what were you
explain
using?
something that Shiners.
Oh, me too. Anyway.
Did you catch some peas?
So Boog and I load up. We got 4 dozen Shiners.
Yeah.
We went to the bait shop. I can tell you that conversation was 12 words total. No? Yeah.
Mark's a nice guy.
Yeah. No? All right.
Is this a place where a bait shop where we went when we were there?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the one where we podcasted with
Were you
Monster
guys
Mike?
spotted?
No.
from?
No, this was the other one
the
that
other
had
one.
this was where Catfish bought that pen reel.
Correct.
Okay.
Everyone has pursuits down there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone has those pen
I
combos.
love my pen pursuit. It still works perfect. I've caught hundreds and hundreds of bass off of it.
Yeah, lots of people have that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I did like that tackle shop. That was
I did too.
Yeah.
He was a nice dude.
everything was fun and delicious. And remember the fish dip?
I can't forget it. That's what inspired me to make the snakehead dip.
Yeah,
So
that's
you-
right.
Oh, it sounds delicious.
No, it's pretty
So
good.
you got 4 dozen. You can't skip. I'm not going to let you just gloss over this. So you got 4 dozen Shiners.
4 dozen Shiners.
Yeah. How long did it take to catch? Because you called me. I'm sitting at work and I saw you were calling.
I couldn't help myself.
I was in the middle of a meeting, a bunch of people in my office, and I couldn't. I texted you, and I'll call you back. And then a few minutes later, you're texting me again. Like, oh, I don't know what's going
Get
on
to
here.
lunch,
And
son.
yeah,
You got
and
stuff
I
to
called
talk
you,
about.
and you'll never guess where I
The
am.
temperature-
and I knew exactly where you were.
How'd you know?
Cause I just knew, like you just know.
He
Like,
felt
this
it.
is why he's calling, and
Yeah, he doesn't call.
yeah.
He just
Oh.
he's got to rub something in, right? So, so we got 4 dozen Shiners, 2 rods, and this was another. I'm so close to hooking up a schnook. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's stupid crazy. We got to tell that story, but it took me.
A freshie.
Yeah, I almost had a freshie. But so it took 2 spots. Like the temperature was cold for Florida.
Was it?
It was in the 50s, right, Bug?
Yeah, well, I think
60.
weren't we reading like 63 in the truck? I think
Yeah.
that day.
But,
Yeah, you told me low 60s.
Jeez, they start closing schools down there.
They did.
They salt the roads.
Just about.
Sea salt. It's glorious.
A cold front can shut fish down.
Yeah. And that,
Yeah, and so it kind of did, but it kind of worked to our advantage. So, like, we were fishing these culvert pipes, which are cement structures, and they seem to hold heat a little bit better
Right.
than the rest of the water around it. So the fish kind of seem to hang around the culvert pipes when it gets real cold.
Makes sense.
So
yeah. And Bug was like, we went to like 4 spots, 3 spots before we caught on. And I kind of got like, oh man, we came all this way, and I kind of was getting a little bit anxious that I made him drive down here for, a couple cold peas. Mm-hmm. And so it just, we went to the usual spots.
Yeah.
The stuff that you know about, stuff that you love.
I love it. Yeah.
And we got back to Boog's house, and like the floodgates like opened up, like Justin Dean Corrigan style.
No
Like-
way.
Like just we were ripping fish out
In the canal.
at Boog's house, right behind the house. Like,
That was where I caught my first pea.
yes, that's where you bypass Catfish.
Yeah.
That's where we came back and almost drowned in the rain that day in the John boats.
Yes.
Oh, I remember the boat stories. Yeah.
Well, we were in 2 aluminum John boats in a thunderstorm and lightning storm
Yeah.
and torrential downpours, and I looked at Boog and said, "Do you ever get hit in a John boat by lightning?" And he's like, "Yeah, like, it's not too bad. And you'll be all right."
It's cool.
It's all
Just
good.
keep fishing.
Just don't put your shirt on. You'll be all right because it'll burn to you and stick to you.
I told Stevie on the phone, guys down there don't, like, their butt cracks don't even have tan lines. They're just shirtless, and
It's because they don't have winter.
Yeah, nobody.
I wouldn't wear a shirt if I lived down there. Why? It's 60 degrees all the time.
Yeah.
Higher.
Oh, 60, they're freaking out. So anyway, we start ripping the peas out, and I'm like, I get not tired of it, but I'm like, do you want to go to another spot? And he's like, why? They're here, you know?
It's a good question.
Yeah. So we just kept after it, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. At the one point, like when I took a picture with two, Boog was like, just catch another one quick, and just because it was like that rapid.
like
They're so aggressive, right? And like lightning, I do like say that like lightning struck twice, in two different situations. The climate's different, It was.
I'm going to drive down there and take the new canoe and just fish at canal all week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even go anywhere. Why? It's because there's everything in there. I saw all kinds of stuff in there, not just peas.
Right.
I saw some of the biggest bass I've ever seen in that place.
I saw the largest like sucker fish or whatever they are. Those like fish tank cleaner things.
Yeah. I call them kayak bottom cleaners.
Is it like a Picostomus like you would get for a fish tank?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just huge.
Oh, wow.
I think I caught one when we were down
Foul hooked it.
I don't remember. It might have.
No,
Drop a couple pieces of corn on a treble hook.
I remember Sean and I burned through about 24 shiners trying to catch a gar, but any gar.
No gar. Largemouth. Got a nice largemouth.
Wow.
Couple.
Two nice largemouths.
Largies. But the one time we saw like this flash just rip out from underneath the culvert. And Boog, tell us about how this went down. Like this is the crazy action part.
Yeah, so this spot that we went to is a buddy of mine's. It's maybe like 15 minutes from the house, and it's known for freshwater tarpon and snook.
Is that the place you have to? I'm not going to say.
Yeah, you have to stand far away from it.
Yes, and you have to walk through that yard away, like through the grass area.
The backyard?
Yes. I saw a tarpon there too.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and Stevie, that's where you missed the freshwater snook too.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
That is the Mecca secret amazing place. We're going to call that Area 52.
You went there too.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Area 52.
So we were on the other side, and we're fishing. So we pull up first, and there's two kids fishing it right off the bat. So I look at
This just isn't going to go well.
I look at Will, and I'm like, man, I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, they're not fishing it right, probably. We'll go in there, we'll fish it right. I'm sure the fish will be there. So we go to another spot, mess around with a couple smaller fish. Give it about 30 minutes.
First of all, how do you know they're not fishing it right? Which you're absolutely right, they weren't, because we walked over there and cleaned up.
Because they're not boog.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, it takes, the right presentation. You have to be using the right line. I don't like using straight braid to the hook. I like using a nice mono or fluorocarbon leader. You could be using shiners, but you got to make sure your shiner's real lively. So you got to use a real light wire hook, thin as possible hook, so that shiners basically thinks nothing's in them. And
bare hooks.
Yeah, those beak hooks.
Beak hooks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not the shag nasties.
Not the O-shag nasties. So
you are a Jetty All-Star, bud.
Dude, I'm a Jetty All-Star, son.
He knows everything now, man. He can go get them. He needs to go down to the Carolinas and get them down there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I know a guy.
So
we
get back to the spot. We get the shiners. We go. We're looking at it. I'm not seeing much. We cast a couple shiners. Then they start showing up. So we're catching the peas. We're firing everything up around there. Everything's getting in the feeding frenzy. Then we see a whole bunch of mullet come out of the drain. And I'm assuming when we saw those mullet, there was a snook falling behind them or, hanging out with them. Not necessarily to eat them, but just kind of hanging out with them. Fish like hanging out together. So we have this shiner down in the water, and
it's like they're going to school.
And of course it happens this way in fishing. It seems this always seems to happen. He casts it out. He casts out the shiner, brand new one, and there's a little loop in the spool. So he's like, dang, I couldn't get a good cast that time. There's, a loop in the spool. So we're ripping out line, trying to get it out. We get it out. And next thing you know, Will's like, oh, man, I'm tight. I'm like, oh, man. So we close the bail. He's reeling up to get tight. He sets the hook. This thing goes off.
Uh-oh.
Boom. Pops just like that. Yep. So I knew to the fish the heavier leader because I knew there was probably snook or tarpon around. So I run to the truck, get the new leader, tie on the 25 fluoro, but nothing else.
Yeah.
It was that tarpon.
You get one shot.
That was the guide. That was the guide error. Yeah. That was guide error.
It was that tarpon. He's missing an eye on the left side.
Yeah. I thought you guys said that he was the best host. He would have known that. If he was
exactly.
I'm just kidding.
I should have 100%.
It was madness.
He has to come down.
Sounds awesome.
The crazy thing about this spot is you can technically fish on the other side of the road as well.
Yeah,
we did.
Right? Yeah,
that's what we did.
Technically,
the kids were on that other side. So we went.
You walked back through the long
area 52,
and that pipe right there is exactly where I saw that tarpon.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we went to the other side,
and they weren't with me. So when they come over, I was yelling.
Yeah,
you're like, bring the minnows.
I remember that.
Bring the minnows. Boog, 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 boog.
Except
he was. What I just seen, it was like a silver alligator.
Except when he was yelling, he was like, Logan. But Logan was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a good time.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I wasn't jealous.
He almost sounded like he meant it that time when he said it. Me too.
Yeah, it was. It's
live
fun
vicariously through him.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It's fun to watch someone else.
The next time you go, would you please be less nonchalant about the text? Maybe just add the initials FL anywhere in the comment. You don't even have to say I'm going to FL.
No,
just FL.
In all fairness, and then I'll hashtag it. I'll re-hashtag it. I'll re-hashtag it. I'll rehash this thing. I wanted
you
to plan
rehash
something.
it, and then I'll tell you how it really went down.
I wanted to plan something.
Yeah.
For that weekend, and a lot of people were like,
you threw out some options. You threw out options, and the two options you threw out were doe hunting in Texas.
That was just a starter. It was an appetizer.
It was doe hunting, kill a doe in Texas,
skydiving,
or go
Uruguay.
ice fishing, or go ice fishing up north.
Parasailing in France.
There was.
I don't remember seeing that one either.
That was the two options.
Those both sound terrible.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in either one of them.
Oh, I'm gonna stick up for Will just a little bit here because I didn't get I didn't get a text or a phone call from Boog either, going, "Hey, your brother's trying to secretly come to Florida, and he's not telling."
Yeah, where were you on that one?
Boog. I was planning the trip.
Yeah. No, I'm glad
he was calling bait shops.
It's not very often that you can have a super hosto where you can jump on, first class, top line of everything. And,
Frontier.
Yeah, and literally just show up with nothing and have a super
ground
time.
Running. Yeah.
How many places and people can you do that with?
Not for that price.
Now, Stevie said, Boog, where were you on that one? And Will, did you say he was calling bait shops?
He's calling
the way I understand it, that couldn't have taken very long.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
about a dozen words per call.
Got shrimp?
Yeah. You got shrimp?
They good?
Man.
There's a lot of bait shops.
I love it, guys.
You got bait? You got shrimp? Yeah. They good? Nah. That's every time.
It sounds like I just need to go catch good big shrimp.
Yeah, you'll be a millionaire.
Boog.
It was a pleasure.
We gotta wrap this up, bud.
Dude, we miss you, boss.
We do miss you.
Hopefully see you.
You got to come down, man. All you guys got to come down.
I think if we all went down and took out whatever corner of the pier, like that would be the best. Like,
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
no one could.
I don't have any problem getting there before the shrimp guy to hold spots.
Yeah, we would own.
I'm very good at looking at other people coming out the pier and going, spots taken.
Yeah.
My boys are rolling up here in a minute. They're getting the good stuff. The big shrimp. Don't ask me where to get them.
I'll bring some paracord to rope it off.
Yeah.
We're good.
And fireworks.
Yeah. Love
It'd
it.
be a great trip, man. Spring and summertime is the best time.
I would go down just for some dude to ask me, where you get them grunts? Where you got any grunts? And I'd just love to look over at Ryan and be like, I got one of them grunts.
Right here.
He's a good.
What can I do for you?
Here's a
Class
really
of 2001.
altogether seriousness. The coolest part about Florida fishing, other than the super host, because it makes it great, is the fact that for somebody who's an avid fisherman, there's so much more to learn.
Yeah.
It takes you back to being almost a beginning fisherman.
I was a fish out of water.
And I
pun
like
intended.
that.
I was completely.
I hope it wasn't intended.
I like learning
Completely
from the
out of
bottom
water.
up.
Yep.
Forget about what you think you know. This is what's happening.
Right. It was the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's all about life's all about learning, man. I love
Bob's
it.
the Oracle.
The Oracle knows everything.
Stevie.
Yes, sir.
Just be better. Just be better, guys. Be better.
Yeah. Contribute to society.
So, Stevie, when we aren't planning trips down to Florida
without telling anybody
to catch, dream fish,
somebody else's
dream fish, where can folks find us?
Hop on over to RuttenRiverPursuits.com. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Search for Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. Download the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify,
iHeart Redfish,
and Apple Podcasts.
Awesome.
That's nice, bud. Thank you.
Don't forget to tell us a little bit about this month's other sponsor, too, while you're at it.
This month is also brought to you in part by Miser Creative LLC. Rutten River Pursuits Podcast is a production of Miser Creative LLC, and if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or if you need help creating video content for social media, look us up. Give Will an email at will@ruttenriverpursuits.com for more information or pricing options.
Well, except for all of the extra vacation plans, those Miser boys are all right.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
We do like a little bit of
trip
podcasting.
Man.
I don't know.
We killed it.
JJMF Misers. He's going to get one over on Will soon. I can feel it.
What a trip. All right. Thanks, Bugs.
See you, boys.
Yeah, brothers. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. Stay warm up there.
Yeah, you too.
Don't worry about
Yeah,
that.
man.
Rig 'em weightless.
That's it.
Yeah, be easy.
Peace. Wait for the good trip.
I thought you were just trying to say Patty
Not
Fancy.
ham patty.
Here's the thing.
Don't church it up, Will.
When you open up a
Pate.
can of like cat food, it literally looked like that, but
Okay.
appetizing and tasted like heaven.
Yeah,
But- so
it
don't
was like a fancy feast.
Yes, that thing.
I see what you did there.
In Cuba.
That was the first time I ever got bit on the ear by a lizard.
Oh, a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever stuck a lizard on someone's ear.
It's crazy. This is cool.
Did you like yell anything like Rocky when you got this thing on the pier?
It was like the absolute very end of the water boy. Whenever everyone's like, yeah, you can do, and I did it. And it's like, and I'm like, I love my mama. It was like so cool.